In this session we'll talk about data flow, like what is a data flow and how we can check the runtime data flow in SAP Fiori. So first of all, like the agenda here is the runtime data flow and what are the different configuration touch points. So let's start with the SAP Fiori Launchpad. So here is the URL for the SAP Fiori Launchpad, which we have also used earlier. So in this we have the https double forward slash, and after that we have to give the proxy server and then the port number. Then we have to forwarding that we have to provide this complete path. So this path will remain same for almost all the environments except for this proxy server and the port number change. So in this diagram we can see that what are the different touch points in while we are using the SAP Fiori Launchpad. So this is the high level diagram wherein it is showing how the flow occurs in SAP Fiori. So on the top we have the various browser based applications, that is my client applications, client browser. So my client can access it from the desktop, from the tablet, or from the mobile phone. After that we have the reverse proxy, which we generally used a SAP web dispatcher. After that we have the ABAP front end server, in which we have the SAP business suite like the ERP, CRM, SRM, SCM. So all my business suite products, they will lie in my front end server. Then we have the UI add-ons and the SAP NetWeaver gateway. So after that we have the ABAP backend server. So in the ABAP backend server we will be having all the SAP business suite, so like ERP, CRM, SRM, SCM. So all my OData services and all my business data, they will reside in my backend server, and all my UI components, so all my UI add-ons for these components for the business suite products, so they will lie in my front end server. Then we have the database, that it can be any DB for my transactional apps, and it has to be HANA for the analytical apps as well as the fact sheets. So in this, these two arrows, they are showing me the touch point, that is from the browser we are accessing the front end server, and the front end server the response is going back to my client browser. Now the SAP Fiori uses HTTP and HTTPS protocol. It is the request response runtime architecture. So the UI objects and the launchpad data, they are stored in the front end server. So these two are the touch points when we are using the SAP Fiori Launchpad. That is my client browser, and after that we have the UI objects and the launchpad data, which is in my front end server. After that we have the details for displaying the launchpad. So in this, when the launchpad is called, my app reads the launchpad definition via the OData service call. So the UI to page builder PERS is one OData service for the launchpad. So in this we can see that my launchpad is called and the app reads the launchpad definition through this OData service call. So this is again my here we can see the SAP OPU OData UI2. So this is my OData service call for the launchpad. Then we have the different relationship between the launchpad catalog objects. So now in this we can see the sequence of steps. That is, first of all we have to use the LPD cust transaction, which is for my launchpad designer. After that, in the launchpad designer we have to add a catalog, we have to add a group, then the target mapping has to be created, in which we have to define the semantic object, the action. Then once the target mapping is done, we have to create the static or the dynamic tile, and then we have to set up the roles for these catalogs and the groups into my PFCG transaction. So here we can see like wherein all these steps are executing. So like first of all we have this LPD cust. So we have to call this using this transaction LPD cust. So once it is done, then we have to go in the Launchpad designer. Into the Launchpad designer, we have to create the catalogs, we have to create the different groups. After that, once that is done, so we have to configure the target mapping. So in the target mapping, here we are defining our semantic objects, action. So all these things are defined in my target mapping. Then in the step 4 here, we can see that we, after defining the target mapping, we are creating the static and the dynamic tiles. So in the static and the dynamic tiles, we have to give the name of the title, then the description, then the OData call, and then the navigation target. Then at last, we have to go into the PFCG transaction. In the PFCG transaction, we have to define the roles for accessing these groups and the catalog. So this is my Launchpad catalog objects and how the relationships happen between them. Then we have the front-end server key items. So in the front-end server, so it will act as a web server. It also acts as the OData service endpoint. It holds a repository of the registered OData services. Then all the UI coding is stored in the SAP UI5 app area in SC80 transaction. So it uses a BSP application as the container by which the content is delivered to the client device. Then it holds the Launchpad objects such as the catalogs and the chips, etc. So these are all the part of the UI add-ons. Then the front-end users, they are defined in the front-end server and must be assigned the correct roles. Then it identifies the backend systems using the system alias, not the RFC destinations. Then it connects to the backend servers using the trusted RFC connection. So herein, this is my front-end server. So my client devices, whether it is a desktop, it is a tablet, or it is a mobile phone, they will communicate with my front-end server, and my front-end server will hold all my UI add-ons, my NetWeaver gateway, my business suite add-ons. So all these things, they will be residing into my front-end server. So these are the key items which my front-end server holds. Then this is the example of my My Quotation apps. So in this we can see that in the My Quotation apps, so first of all, the app calls the OData to retrieve some data. Gateway components in the front end server know the system alias for the services, and they get the data from the backend server. So in this, first of all, my client devices, they give a call to the front end server. Then in the front end server, we have the different system aliases defined, and that using that we know that which backend server we need to call, and then we have to get the data from my backend server. So these are the different touch points when we call any app using the Launchpad, that is a Fiori Launchpad. Then we have the gateway service catalog. So this diagram, this explains the OData providers and the proxy service setting on the gateway from definition point of view. So we are going to look at the OData service call from the app runtime point of view. So in this we can see that in order to expose our gateway service to the outside world, we must create an entry in the service catalog on whichever server is acting as the gateway hub. So in this we can see that we first of all we have the SAP business suites, so in which our data provider class and our model provider class exist. So this is my gateway service. Then we have in the gateway hub we have the gateway service provider. So in this we have the gateway service catalog. So we must create an entry in the service catalog in the server which is acting as my gateway hub. So this way we have to create the entry in my gateway service catalog. After that, we have the HTTP request, OData operations, and the ABAP methods. So all the HTTP requests, they refer to the gateway services base URL. However, by using the different combinations of HTTP method, resource path, query string, and XML parameters, different OData operations can be invoked. So these OData operations are implemented by different ABAP methods in the data provider class. So we have seen the data provider class when we create the project and when we create the data model. So in the data model, we can see the data provider class as well. After that, we have the in this table we can see what is my HTTP method, what is my base URL. After that, what is a query string, then whether it uses the XML body, then the OData operation, and the ABAP method. So like in this case, we can see here that for the get method we have the entity set name, then in the query string we have none or the $filter. Then the OData operation here is the query. So we have seen these different OData operations in the OData session. So we have the different OData operations like query, read, update, delete, create. So we can these are all the OData operations as per my HTTP method. Then we have the ABAP methods corresponding to each one of them. So we can set the external breakpoints in the ABAP method. So based on the HTTP request call, get entity set, get entity, etc., they will be called. Then we have the backend server key item. So for now, in the previous slides, we have seen the various front-end server key items. So now let's see what are my backend server key items. So what does my backend server holds? So in this case, using these two arrows, we can see the communication that is happening between my client the client tools, from where actually we are calling the app. So these are my client devices. After that, we have the backend server. So my backend server, it is a business suite server. It holds the application data, and all the application customizing, they will happen here. It has two classes for the OData, that is my MPC, which is my model provider class, and the DPC, which is my data provider class. So user should have the S_RFCACL authorization for this. So this is my backend server. So in my backend server, I will be having all my data residing. All my business data will be there in my backend server. However, my front-end server will contain the UI components only. Then we have at last we have the user role and authorizations. So my application users should be created on the front-end server. Then the S_RFC_ACL authorization should be assigned to the users in my business suite. The UI roles should be assigned to the users in the front-end server. So we can see here that we have the front-end server and we have the back-end server here. So my roles like same user ID has to exist in both of the systems, because if we want to communicate from the client devices to my complete Fiori app and we have to get the data, so we should use the same user which is existing in my front end and in my back end. So the user and the password are authenticated on the front end server. It means that the user should have the user ID on the front end server as well. In other words, the system admin should maintain the user ID in both backend and the front end servers. So my central user administration, that is my CUA, it can be used for managing the user IDs. Then the RFC connection from my front end server to the back end server must be a trusted RFC connection. It means that the same user ID is passed to the backend without the password. So the user ID in the backend server should have the S underscore RFC ACL authorization, which allows the trusted logon. So the user should have the UI role in the front-end server and the backend role in the backend server. So this red dot, it is representing here that the users, the roles and the authorizations, like they exist in the backend server as well. So now let's go to the system, and there we will see like how we can see the runtime data flow in my SAP Fiori system. So in this exercise, we'll develop an understanding of the runtime data flow. So after completing this exercise, we will be able to develop an understanding of the data flow, which will help us to perform the troubleshooting and to extend the SAP Fiori app's functionality and the UI. So there are certain prerequisites for performing this. That is, one of the SAP Fiori app is configured and it is up and running. Then we have the required authorizations for executing the gateway client and the debug. So in this we will see the SAP Fiori app runtime data flow and configuration touch points with the app my time, which we have configured earlier. So now the Google Chrome browser we will be using in this exercise, but we can use any HTML5 supported browser. So we can also follow the steps with any of the other transactional app in SAP Fiori. So now to start with, we have to log on to the SAP Fiori Launchpad. So let's go to the system. And then we have to enter the Launchpad link here. So this is my Launchpad link. I'll just copy it. And I'll enter the link here. So it will open up my SAP Fiori Launchpad homepage. So since I was already logged in, so it has not asked me to enter the login credentials. Otherwise, if it is the first time, then you will be prompted to enter your login credentials. So in this we can see that how we can open up the Launchpad. Now the second thing is like we have to see the inspect element on the browser. So in this task we will inspect the elements on the browser. So now what we have to do is we have to right click in this blank area and we have to click on this inspect element. So as soon as we will click on this inspect element, we will be able to see all these properties, that is my elements, my network, sources, the timeline and the profiles. So from here we have to, let's go to the network. So now we do not have anything here. Now once we will click on this refresh, we will be able to see what all is called when we refresh the Launchpad. So now we can see that all the it is calling so many things in the network. We can see that. So out of these there are the metadata services, there are the OData services. So we will see the detail of them now. So now we have to check the OData service for the Launchpad. So in this case, if we go to the network tab and if we see the page sets, so if I scroll down a bit, so we can see here that we have this OData. So now in this URL we can see that we have this SAP OPU OData. So now what is the OData service URI here is, it is SAP OPU OData UI2 and the page builder PERS. So it is the HTTP request and the HTTP response. So when an HTML file is requested, the app downloads the included JavaScripts view files and the language resource files. Now we'll see like how we can test the OData call in the browser. So for this we have to right click this OData service and then we have to choose the open link in the new tab. So let's say if I just right click it and I click on this open link in new tab. So now in this I can just do a control F and I can write down the name of my app. So let's say it is My Time. So I can see here that I have this My Time app. So the OData response has some tile information. So if I go here and click on enter, so I can see the different occurrences of My Time app here. So OData is the same with HTTP request and HTTP response. So so here we just understand that the OData service request and that the response it has some data. After this we have to check the assigned roles to the user. So we have to log on to our backend system. So let me go back to my SAP logon. And let's log into my backend system. So here I have to enter the username and the password. I'll just continue with this logon without entering any other logons in the system. So now we can use the transaction SU01 to check the roles which are assigned to the users. So if I go to SU01, now in the user field we have to enter our assigned user. So in this case we are using the Fiori server. So I will write down here the Fiori server. And then we have to click on this edit. That is my change. Now in the roles tab, so we have different tabs here. The first one is the address, then we have the logon data, SNC, defaults, parameters, but we want to just see the roles. So we'll go here in the roles and we can see that there are the certain roles which are assigned to my Fiori server. Then we can see that like depending on the system and the users we can see the different roles. So the assigned roles will be checked in this SU01 transaction. So now the same user must be existing into my front-end system as well. So we can control the catalog access by accessing the UI roles to the users, by assigning the UI roles to the users. For example, like if there is some other user who came into the system and they require the access to the catalog, so we provide this access using this SU01. So now let's go back to our front end and we will see the same user existing into my front end as well, because as I said earlier, so my user has to exist into my both systems. So now if I go here and use SU01 and if I want to enter the name, so if I know the username directly, so I can just directly write down the name. Otherwise I can use this F4 help. If I type a star here, so it will search for all the users and from here I can see the users in my system. So now we can see that we have the same user which is a Fiori server which was existing into my backend, into my front end as well. So we'll just copy it, we'll go here and we will go to the roles tab again. So in this we can see that this user has the different roles assigned, like the one for the HCM, one for the the admin roles, so financial roles. So all these different roles this user have in this system. So this way we can check that the which roles the user has, and we have checked that the same user has to exist in my front end as well as into my backend system. Now we will check the Launchpad catalog. So we have to go to the browser again, or might be we can use the front end and we can directly go use the LPD cust for opening my Launchpad designer. So we have this transaction LPD cust, which is for the Launchpad customizing. So if we have the link, we can directly go to the browser and write down the link. Otherwise we can just click on this LPD cust transaction. So in this we can see all the launchpads which are existing into my system. So now we will go to our Launchpad designer link, and from there we will check what is the Launchpad role assigned to our app and the catalog. So let's go back here. So this is my Launchpad designer URL. So let's copy this and go to the Google Chrome. Now let's open up the new tab and paste this URL. So once done, we have to make sure that we are at this catalog tab. Now we have to just search for our catalog which we have created for MyTime. So we have created this ZHCM time. So we'll just go here, and in this we have to click on this target mapping, and then we have to select the target mapping and click on this configure. So once we will click here, we will be able to see the Launchpad role. So we have to copy this Launchpad role for a reference. So just open up the notepad, and here we have to copy the Launchpad role. So this is my Launchpad role for this particular catalog. Now we have to check the Launchpad objects. So in this task we will check the various Launchpad objects. So again we have to return to our front end. So this is my front end, and we have to run the transaction LPD cust. So now here we have to navigate to the user role we just saw in the Launchpad designer, that is my demo HCM. So now let's try to find out that role here, which is my demo HCM. So this is my demo HCM role, and we have to click on this glasses. Now if we click on the glasses, we will be able to see this My HCM timesheet. So we have to double click this My HCM timesheet. So here we can see the app URL. So this is my app URL. So we have to just make a copy of this URL as well. So this is my app URL. After this, we have to check the OData services for my MyTime app. In this we will be like checking which all OData services are called. So again we have to go to the Launchpad in the Chrome, and we have to now clear the network tab. So if I go back to my Chrome and if I go to the Launchpad, so we can clear this by using this clear button. So we have to click on this clear, and then we have to click on this My Time app. So if I click on this My Time, it is again calling few OData services. So now we can review the list of the called OData services here. So we can see here which all OData services are called. So the any thing which is like so we can see here, that is, this is my SAP OPU OData UI2 interop service which is called. Similarly, we have the different OData services which are called here. So this is my SRA002 timesheet underscore SRV which is called. So this way we can see that there are the different OData services which are called by this My Time app. So now, and this is also the metadata service. So this is my metadata service, that is SRA002 timesheet SRV, and we have this $metadata. So these are the different OData services which are called. Now in this task we will again will check the My Time app. So we can see, we know that what is my app URL. So that app URL we have just copied. So if I go here, so this is my app URL. Now we will test the UI2 interop service resolve link. So what we have to do is that we have to go to my network tab again. Now we have this component.preload. So we'll just right click it and we'll click on this open link in new tab. Sorry, I think I have clicked on the different one. I have to go back. I have to go here in the resolver link. So this is my interop service, right? So we can see here that this is my interop resolver link. So I have to right click this one. I'll close the previous one which I have just opened. So I'll close this one and I'll go to the resolver link. So we'll again go and we'll click on this open link in new tab. So here we will be able to see the link which we have just copied. So we can see this interop service lying here. So this is my, so we can see that we have the same link which we copied, the same URL link which we copied from my service. So this way we can check the different services and the interop resolver link. So my UI2 interop OData service call, it gets the app detail information such as the app URL. After that we will check the app UI code. So in this again we have to go back to my backend system. And here we have to go to the SCAT transaction. In SCAT transaction we have to go down to the drop down which is my BSP application, and then we have to choose the this one. Okay, I think we can check in the front end. So let's go back to the front end system and let's run the SCAT transaction here. So we can check the BSP application into my SCAT. So if I select this BSP application here and my SCM TSCRE, the one which we have taken the link from the link, then we have to open up this page fragments folder, and then here we can see that we have this XML file which is my main.view.xml. So this is my view type. So from here we can check the view type of my service. So it is my XML. So now the UI program codes are stored in the front end server, which acts as the web server. So we can look at all the UI code and the resources in my front end server. So it also means that we can download the code and we can extend it. Now we will check the OData proxy definition on my front end server. So in this, we will go back to the system. So now if I again go back to the My Timesheet app and in the network, so we can see the third call was to my the third call was for the metadata. So now we can see that in this metadata, my service name, my OData service name is SRA002 timesheet SRV. Now if we go to the transaction which is for my maintaining the service, so if I go back to my system and if I enter the transaction for my service maintenance, which is my IWFND maintain service, if I double click it and if I click on this filter, so either we can use this filter or we can scroll down to check that name of my service. So in our case it will be ZSRA002 timesheet SRV. So if I scroll down, I can see here this is my service which we have just seen. So we can just select this service. So in this we can check the external service name. So my external service name is SRA002 timesheet SRV, which we have just seen into the network tab. Now what is my service URI? So my service URI I can check which we have just taken earlier. Now after that if we will select the ICF node and we'll go to the configure. So let's say if I go here and if I click on this configure, so now we can see here that it jumps to the transaction SICF, which is for my maintain service. So in this we can see when you have activated the OData service, the ICF node was created. So now in this we can see this node which is my which is for my this service, that is SRA002 timesheet SRV. So whenever we activate our OData service, it creates the SICF node into my system. So now we can we have to just see like how many backend systems we are connected to. So we are just connected to the one backend system. Then we have the different like the system alias, and we have the deployment options for the gateway. So all these things, they depend on your configuration. So you can just check that depending on your configuration. So now this way we can check that we have the what is my name, what is my SICF service name. So all these things, they can be checked from this screen. Now if I choose this green back arrow to return to the activate and maintain service screen. So we can see this service implementation button here. So we can just click on this service implementation. Now in the service implementation area, we can see the different things like what is my data provider class. So we can see here that what is my data provider class. Then we can see the package name. So what is my package name? After that we can see the model provider class. So we can see here that this is my model provider class. So similar way we can check for the DPC and the MPC classes. So this EXT means that these are the extended classes. These are the extension classes. Now we have to check the OData service document. So the next task is to check the OData service document. So now let's go back to my activate and maintain service screen. If I go here, then the OData URI is my SAP OPU OData SAP service name. Now we can select the gateway client button in this screen. So if I select this and if I go to my gateway client, so it jumps to the transaction IWFND GW client. So we can test the service call by choosing the execute. So we can just click on this execute. So here we can see the request URI for this service, and we can click on execute. Now if we click on the execute, we will be able to see the list of collections which this service can provide. So we can see the collections here, we can see the different collections here, so that we can see which all collections this service can provide to us. Now we will test the $metadata option. So now again we have to go to the Launchpad. And then we will see the metadata option here. So this is my metadata option. So we will just right click and we'll click on this copy link address. So now we will return to the NetWeaver gateway client and we will paste the link into the URL field. So this is my gateway client. So if I copy paste this URL which we have copied from the metadata into my request URI, sorry, it's not copied. So we'll just copy it here and we'll see it is copying or not. No, it is not copying. Okay, yes, this. So we have to go to the gateway client, and now we have to delete the URL up to the this one, the /SAP. So we'll just go by this, and then we have to delete everything which is after the metadata. So my request URI should look something like this now. And now again we have to click on the execute. So once we will click on the execute, we will see the returned metadata definition, which includes the data type, length, everything of my service. So if we scroll down here, we will be able to see the data type, length, everything is returned using my metadata URL. So my metadata URL, it will basically provide me the detail of my service, like what is my data type. So we can see here that the type is the EDM.string. So we can see all these things into my metadata URL. After that, we have to check the metadata definition in the gateway service builder. So we have to again return to the activate and maintain services window, and then we have to enter the transaction SCGW. So we will go back to my activate and maintain service window. So we are in the activate and maintain service now, and then we have to enter the transaction, which is my SCGW, which is my gateway builder. So now in this we have to open our project in which this service resides. So in the SAP NetWeaver Gateway Builder, we can check for the runtime artifacts for any of the service. So let's take an example here. So say if I want to open up the service which is load my quotation. So if I expand this, the data model, so in this we have the entity types, and we can see all the properties of this entity type. Similarly, if I go to the runtime artifacts, so I will be able to see the MPC classes, I will be able to see the data provider classes. So this way we can check up the details of my data provider class as well as my model, this one, the MPC class. So now let's see the other steps. So let's check the app specific customizing. So we can directly go to the transaction SPRO to check the app specific customizing. Now in this we can go to this SAP reference IMG, and we can choose, say, the time management. In the time management we can go here to the define default settings for my application. So let's say if I just define the role here, if I just select the role here, so let's say if I go to this time evaluation, and if I under this we can see the general settings for it. So we can see here the general settings for any of the app which is there. So in this area we can check the different customizing settings which are done into my backend system. So similarly, like here we have for the time management we have for the SAP e-recruiting. Similarly for this one we have for the sales and distribution. Like say if I expand the sales and distribution, if I go here to my field sales representative role, so I can click on this default define the default settings for my quotation app. If I click here, I will be able to choose to change the different quotation settings which are there, the customizing settings which I have done into my backend system, like the default document type, default item price, header discount, item discount, then we have the threshold value. So this way we can check the various customizing settings which we have done into my backend system. Now again, let's go back to my main screen and see what we can check under the backend package. So let's go back. Now to check the backend package, we can copy the package name from our service information which we have taken from the activate and maintain service area. So this is my package name. I can just copy this package. Then I have to go to my backend system. So I'll go to my backend system. I'll go to the transaction SCAT. Now here we have to select the package and we have to copy paste our package name. If we press enter, we will be able to see the details of this package. So if I go here, I will be able to see all by navigating to the drop downs, we can find out the data provider class name, the customizing transactions, the service builder project name, and the enhancement spots. So if I go to my class library here, if I expand my classes, I'll be again able to see all my MPC and the DPC classes here. That is my model provider and my data provider classes. After that, I can see into my enhancements area. So I can see the enhancement spot. If I expand the enhancement spot, I will be able to see the body element associated with it. So similarly, we can check the gateway service builder project associated with this service. So we have the gateway builder project SRA002 underscore timesheet for this. Now once we are in this task, we have seen how we can check the different details. Now we will check the data provider class. So we have to navigate to the data provider class, that is from the class library. Under the classes, we have a data provider class inside it. So if I go to my data provider class extension, if I go to the methods, redefinitions, then here we can see the options which are available. So if I go to my get entity set and if I double click on this method, I'll be able to see the detail of this method here. So this is my get entity set method. So we can look at and we can review this method, these methods which are existing into my redefinition area. So this way we can check all the operations which are invoked by this method, this class. So all these things we can check into this area. Now we have to set the external breakpoints and the debug. So how we can do this is that we have to go to the main menu and we have to choose the utilities and the settings. So in this utilities, we have the settings here. So in the if we can we receive the security pop-up, so we have to choose allow. If we don't, then we have to just continue. Then here we have to go to the ABAP editor, and in the ABAP editor we have the debugging area. This is my debugging area. So we have to make sure that the user is our logon user here. So in this we have logged in using the Fiori server user. So the same we can see under this user, logon user. So after that we have to close the user specific setting box by choosing the cross, and then we have to choose the get entity method. So let's say if I close this one, so once we have closed that, a user screen will go back and then we have to choose this get entity set. So we can choose this one and then we have the option of creating the breakpoints here, that is to set or delete the external breakpoints. So we have to choose this set an external breakpoint here. Now we can see that it has set up the breakpoint in my area. So this way we can create the breakpoints and we can like debug our application using this. So this is the end of this session. In this session we have seen the various runtime artifacts, the runtime data flows, like how we can check the class libraries, how we can set up the breakpoints, how we can check up the metadata, how we can use the network tab into my launchpad, a launchpad browser, like whenever we call the application, so it calls up some OData services, and then how we can just check that each and every data service into my service maintenance area. So all these things we have covered in this session. So thank you. So this is the end of this session.